you look around the league, there's a lot of teams, in the hunt. We're in the hunt. You sit here and you say, hey, Thanksgiving, and close to the end of November, and we're in the hunt. When you sit around that table tomorrow, you're saying we're in the hunt. And there's a lot of teams that wish they were in the hunt. Well, we're in the hunt.
Good luck and doing anything to try and bring me down right now. I don't even know, like my wife could walk into the room and bed a man and I'll be like, oh, high five, dude. Go Bills. It's the In the Hunt cast.
Do you mean another man?
Yes,
or is
like,
this the same guy?
Yeah, the guy that's been here for a while, he's already been back. I mean, more men from the street, yes. That was Kyle Turner. Sean Murphy's going to talk to. I'm Greg Baux. It's the In the Hunt cast. And whatever. When are we going to rename our podcast to Perennially in the Playoffs? Like, when is that?
We're 12-3, which is a joke record, I'd say, at the beginning of most of the episodes, where I'd like start a season preview going like, guys, 12-3 this year, and then everyone would laugh.
Yeah.
And we're 12-3 right now.
Yeah. It's parade route. Like we used to remember Sean back when we would do the parade route?
Yeah.
Joke, like, oh, we're going to start in the first ward and go to Syracuse, and Kyle would be like, oh, you idiots, and we'd laugh. And then like now it's like, so do we start in the first ward and go to Syracuse? Is that what we do? Like, they handled that team, and I don't care who was out and who like their quarterback is. That's a good football team always, with one of the best coaches in NFL history, and they curb stomped them effortlessly. Yeah. That's the least stressed I've ever been in my life, and we are playing the Patriots.
It was it's so fucking great to watch Bill Belichick. Just his eyes. Like, I don't need to see his mouth, but just his eyes be mad. You know what I mean? And I love that the Bills destroy them, and he has to look over at his fucking idiot son who gave himself a mullet because he's his defensive coordinator, and look over at him and be like, you fucking idiot with a mullet. It's one thing to be winning with a mullet, but when you're losing with a mullet, then you're a real fucking idiot, you know?
You can't be Bill Belichick and lose with a mullet. You can't do it. Like, you have to win if you're going to wear that mullet. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's not cool if like I said, if you want to have a ridiculously ugly haircut, you better be good. You can't have that ridiculous shit and be bad.
It's the Cole Beasley effect. If you're good with that hair, you're great. If you're bad with that hair, you're extra bad.
Yeah, it's almost like growing a mustache. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a good facial hair. It's a joke facial hair of someone growing a mustache. And the bit is funny for a while. And then after, it ends.
This is a game that you really wish, even more so than Bills home games, that fans were at. Just to see all because there'd be shot after shot of sad Patriots fans walking out in the third quarter. I mean, that's what I want to see in a losing, lost piece of shit Patriots. I can't not say piece of shit or call them bitches, but anytime I say their name, in a losing season, how many of them would have been there on a Monday night to watch a shitty Cam Newton-led team? I just, how many Bills fans would have went down there? Would it have been 60-40? Do our Boston fans, we don't know, because this year fucking blows. We don't know how they react to losing now. All we have is the shit that they say on Twitter, and they've already dismissed everything, where they're just like, doesn't matter. I knew we were going to be bad. Whatever. And I wanted to see if they actually showed up, because Bills fans were shitty the Bills teams were shitty for 20 years, and they still showed up to the one primetime game we had every 5 years.
And they would have been leaving to the site of the billboard that talked about the Bills, like that billboard, the Bills fans ones that say best fans in the NFL. That's on the exit from Foxborough. Like, that's where they put that thing.
How is that not burnt down? That's the saddest thing about the Patriots this year is that the fans did not burn down that, because if that billboard was in Buffalo, whoever was putting up that billboard wouldn't have even had the chance to put up the billboard.
They're not. That's
Those,
the thing.
they would have been pelted with Bud Light cans.
They're not classy like we are.
I'm not saying they're classy. I'm saying the opposite. They wouldn't even have had a chance to finish that billboard. Bills fans would have burnt that shit down.
Well, and this is, Greg alluded to it, this is the second game, at least in a row, that has been almost like boring, where you feel like a Patriots fan, where you're just like, yeah, this is easy. I just don't want anyone to get hurt.
I was really nervous today. I was not nervous before today, and then everyone not being nervous made me nervous. So they needed to win this game, and I stopped being nervous like in the first quarter when they traded field goals. I kind of thought like, oh, New England just doesn't have it. They were kind of gifted this first drive. Like I'm okay, but like I was nervous heading into today, and obviously the way things went were really nice. It was a really nice, boring game. It's exactly what a good team should have.
Well, and you know what's interesting? I got a call-in for the show. I didn't even know we had a number. I know we got an email at inthehuntcast@gmail.com.
We're taking callers?
But apparently we're taking callers, and Greg didn't even alert me to this.
I usually screen those. I used to do this. Should I screen this?
I mean, apparently you should have, but I got a call to play on the air, so I'll play that right now, and then we could see if
if this is a fucking Bortles or Portals.
It's not a I swear it's not a Bortles or Portals, because I would have used a boat horn to So here we go.
Hey there, In the Hunters. First time caller, long time listener. Just wanted to say I love the pod. This is Hunter Chris here. I just had a question for Kyle. What does he plan on eating his Lee Smith crow with? I will hang up and listen. Thank you, guys.
Oh, that's a good call. I would let that call on the air. That's my boner play of the game, is the Lee Smith touchdown. Without a doubt,
Oh my
giant,
God.
veiny, purple-headed boner, Lee Smith touchdown.
It wasn't even a touchdown. You made it a touchdown. Oh, the Lee Smith. I thought you were talking about the Lee Smith long pass.
That was great. No, that was the second time I ejaculated during the game. The first time was Lee Smith's touchdown.
So before you let Kyle respond, 2 catches.
Yeah.
31 yards. It was beautiful. After that second one, he needed oxygen. He has never moved so much. He was humping and pumping.
He's never ran that many yards. He's never gone 31 yards. He's done a 30-yard dash, never 31.
So, Kyle, I mean, what do you say to our caller?
I'm not. I refuse to do Lee Smith crow. I can't. My pride won't let me on this one. It will let me with other players, not to be mentioned yet. The season's not over, but I refuse. I told you I don't hate Lee Smith. I hate what he represents.
What if we do a nice rotisserie crow, like one of them slow turned barbecue crows?
Speaking of Lee Smith,
can't wait. Hold on. I can't wait. Like the Bills will win like a Super Bowl off of like a Lee Smith 1-yard catch. Everyone will be celebrating. Kyle will be the guy at the party. Like, he's not even that good. He should be on the team. He should be on the team.
I want to read my tweet of the game. Has to do with Lee Smith. And this one is from James Donovan. It's at Chak88. That's CHAK 88. He said, Lee Smith is one of my favorite. Chak, right? Yeah. Lee Smith is one of my favorite Bills of all time. He is one of the best blocking tight ends in history. And he always supports his teammates.
What?
Oh, and he catches it when it matters most. Come on, James. What? You put that out into the world? You typed that with your thumb?
You made it the tweet of the game.
Yeah. But we all know Tweet of the Game is not because it's good. Favorite Bills of all time? How long have you been watching the Bills? 14 weeks? Did you start today? Is this your first time ever watching the Bills? And you're like, that's my favorite player of all time. That guy's amazing.
I love Lee Smith more than anyone, but I also love the idea of someone being like, "Oh, favorite Bills players? It's got to be either Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, or Lee Smith."
One of the best blocking tight ends in history. That's why I bought his
the
signed
bullshit.
jersey.
No one has a list of the best blocking tight ends in Bills history. That doesn't exist.
No, and they shouldn't. Hence why I hate Lee Smith.
I get it.
Well, you just said you didn't hate him, and then you changed it 2 minutes later that you do.
What do you want me to say? I hate his ideologically or something. Ideology. I don't know. His presence.
I think you were there. I think Kyle just was smart. The ideologicalness of him existing is something Kyle hates.
Okay.
Isn't that the correct way? He properly communicated what his hate for Lee Smith is, and I won't argue with it.
I still don't understand his weird hatred is unnecessary to me, but I guess that he communicated it effectively. I will, give him a pass on that.
Agreed. Kyle's earned that at least.
I loved you know what I really loved in the game, watching the Patriots or Bill Belichick specifically and him react. They're 100% not tanking this season. I know they had already won 6 games and everything, and we have seen you can't tank winning 6 games, but the beginning of the season I swore he was tanking. And I said, I think he's one of the only coaches ever who's good enough to game plan a tank. Unlike Adam Gase, who just loses because he's bad, I think Bill Belichick could make it look. And it didn't sit right with the whole they have 8 players opt out for COVID, the most in the league by far. And and they're all starters. Like, it was very, very weird. And but after watching him react, especially where he threw the phone, is great. And I also love that the phones that they have aren't wireless on the sideline. So It looked like he was a drunk dad in the 70s who just lost his job at the factory and had to throw the phone against the wall, and it's dangling on a cord.
I have to change that to my boner of the game. That moment. That was amazing.
Yes. That's my boner play of the game as well. And I will say when he threw the phone, in my mind, I immediately pictured Kyle reading him a Yo Mama joke he's already heard before. And he's just like, I've already heard that Yo Mama joke. He just throws the phone.
Your mama's so skinny she's got to run around in the shower.
I'm actually the one that called that line. He thought he was calling up to the booth, and he was like, "Hey, what are we doing on the next play?" And I was like, Yo Mama is so fat. Your son looks like an idiot, bitch." And then I hung up. I forgot my Yo Mama joke. I made fun of his son.
What else do we want to bring up here? Taiwan Jones, a person I forgot was still on the team, dropped the TD pass that could have set the team record.
Don't care. He didn't deserve it.
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter, though. It did not matter. Yeah, he can catch one next week. Whatever. We beat the Patriots by 100 points.
I agree. Yeah. I'm not trying to pile on him. I'm not a Kyle here. I'm not trying to just throw hate into the wind.
I'm fine. I don't care.
What's that, Greg? You got Glorpies. Say that again.
Do you guys have? Oh, did I? I just said old pile. I think it's wonderful that Taiwan Jones dropped a sure touchdown pass that would have set a record, and my blood pressure did not get over 84. I don't even give a shit. I don't care if Taiwan Jones went up into the stands and took a shit. Whatever. They beat the Patriots by 100 points.
I don't care if he did that, because that's awesome.
He'd care in a positive way, not a negative way. I'd go and get a Taiwan Jones jersey if he went up the stands and took a shit.
Even Dawson Knox had that drop and then was kind of making crazy catches after that, which is the Dawson Knox normal thing.
Yeah, that's a standard Dawson Knox thing.
That I care about. He needs to catch the ball every time it's thrown into his hands. You need to catch that ball.
Yeah, again, I think the Dawson Knox experiment is done. Wow. He did make good catches, but it's too inconsistent. That can't be your regular guy. He might be, whatever. He's fast and he might be hot, but.
Oh, okay.
What happened there?
I don't know. He's a good looking
He
dude.
is a good looking guy. That's
feel-
of all the dumb things you've said, that isn't even in the top 50. I mean, that's pretty
No,
reasonable.
I'm
yeah.
surprised you guys are reacting like this. I thought you'd be like, status quo. There we go. On to the next topic.
I don't know what he looks like. Is he over 6 foot tall? Is he recognizable as a
Of
man?
course, he's a tight
Okay.
end.
I don't
Is
know.
he over
Okay.
6 foot tall?
Well, I know that's your big standard, so.
Every time
Making
someone
sure.
under 6 foot talks, I just hear wah, 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 wah. I go, yep, sure, whatever.
If I was under 6 feet tall, I would be offended.
But this game had everything. A fake punt that was fun. They went for it on
man.
4th down a bunch. You know,
I saw by the way on Twitter. This was gonna be my tweet of the game until this James kid said Lee Smith was his favorite Bill of all time. But someone legitimately criticized them for running a fake punt, being like, "Why'd you pull it out of the bag this early? Like, save it. Why'd you put that on film?" That's what the guy said. "Why'd you put that on film?" I'm like, relax, dude. You run one fake punt a year, a season.
Yeah.
This was the time that who gives
also-
a shit. This
also-
was the time to play around.
Also, that guy was wide open. There's nothing to put on film when there's a guy when there's a receiver without anyone within 20 yards, you throw it to him. That doesn't need to be on film.
I've seen that throughout the whole year. There's like, I don't know if it's just against the Bills, but like they'll run the defender over to the line, and then the Bills gunner will come back over to like help block that guy. And I've always just been like, why don't they just toss that guy the ball? But you know, who I don't fucking know.
What are you talking about? You don't know? You watched the All 24.
Yeah.
Like, don't you know right off the bat?
24.
So, yeah, Kyle gets an additional 2.
Oh, okay.
I forgot. He watches the All 24.
But this was a great. We've always talked about different problems we've had with McDermott and stuff. But this was a thing that he wouldn't have done a year ago, which is you're winning and you just keep your boot on their neck. There was they were throwing it like crazy while they were up. They were going for it on 4th down. They were doing what they should.
They kept Allen in until there was like 30 seconds left in the game.
Yeah. Which is a little scary.
No problem with that. Like, you don't.
That's a little scary.
I didn't care at all. I watched Aaron Rodgers last night, 41-14 or whatever, and he's still out there gunning it to Devontae Adams up until the final 2 drives of the game. Keep him in there. Didn't give a shit. Pad the stats. That's my theory. Don't go crazy. You know what I mean? Like, don't.
They've won 4 Super Bowls.
Plays,
they've won 4 Super Bowls in their franchise, so they can do that. But, yeah.
No, yeah, and I refuse to believe McDermott isn't a human, even though he's a little bit of a robot. And I believe he wants to crush the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think he wants to blow out Bill Belichick as much as he possibly can. He's seen what they've done to McDermott-led teams. He knows. And he's like, yeah, I want to put up fucking 40.
Well, if you're in the NFL at any level, whether it's a defensive end or an assistant coach or a head coach or whatever, you know, like, I have to imagine you hate Bill Belichick. Like, if you don't work directly under him, you hate him.
We've watched them, the whole NFL has watched them put up 50 points on dog shit teams for 20 years and not give a shit about the score, the record, respect, shaking the coach's hand after, whatever it all means. Every team has watched the Patriots put up a shit ton of points, blowing out the other team. So no one should give a shit when it happens to them.
Did you see the exchange at the end of the game between McDermott and Belichick? They
Did they
practically like got a room together. Like, Belichick like first came up and hugged him and then was talking and walking with him. It took like 40 seconds. Like, it was a major.
Are we a little nervous that maybe Belichick gave him COVID?
Yeah, like on purpose. Yeah,
on purpose. Like, Bill Belichick had a little. You know how like mouthwash or like comes in those little spray bottles.
Sean wouldn't know that.
And you're like, and then you put it away in your pocket. What if Bill Belichick has that, but the is COVID, and he's like, I'm gonna go talk to McDermott. Sprays the COVID in his mouth, goes up, licks his ear. I'm just saying.
I love the licks
his ear. Can't put anything by him.
It's likely. It's pretty likely. Any more thoughts on the game before we move into trivia?
Yes, my penis is bigger.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was
How'd that happen?
because it was a good game.
Oh, I was like, bigger than who? I understand.
Is that
No,
is
I don't.
that
I don't think I
because-
ever want to stop talking about the game. Like it was amazing. Like that
Is your
was.
penis bigger because you watched the game, or did you manscape?
It's not bigger relative to other penises. I meant bigger
Oh.
to my normal penis because of the game was so
Nice.
good that there's a bunch of blood in it and it's not in my head. So forming words is difficult at this time. No, I don't want to ever let this go. Like they swept the Patriots. Like that was, and it was nothing. Like this is not, I don't care about tonight. I don't care about the playoffs. I don't care about who they play in the first round. I don't care about who they rest. All that will come. And that'll be interesting. And tomorrow I'm going to spend an hour on the standings and the scenarios on what can happen. Like tonight, they're way better than New England and will be for at least a couple of years.
And it's fun. It's just like since the Cardinals game, obviously how they lost, but since the Seahawks game, they've blown out other teams haven't even been in it. It hasn't been close. The the Steelers game was 26-15, but it didn't feel like it. The whole game you were like, yeah, this is nothing. The Bills are destroying them. And it's so crazy. Not only are the Bills winning, but the other teams aren't even in it. And like you said, like maybe I'm like the first quarter, I'm a little like on the edge of my seat. And then I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. They're going to fucking beat them. And then I just sit back and I chill. And it feels great. I've never felt that before in my life.
Oh,
and I'm still coping with it. And I'm sure at some point when I'm let down eventually, because that's just what happens in normal situations, they're not going to go undefeated forever. I will need years of therapy because of this one season.
It's a weird place to be in. And I mentioned this on the Twitter that I had to write a blog for our Patreon people tonight, and it gets sent in like 30 seconds. So I sent Sean 2 blogs, one if the Bills won and one if the Bills lost. And writing the one if they won was completely natural. And writing the one if they lost, I was like, well, I'm not going to need this. Like they're not really going to lose. And that made me scared. That's when I started to freak out. When you think, like, they're not going to lose.
So speaking of Patreon, we should just quickly plug our episode coming out on the 1st is super funny. We gave $100 of our own money to our 4th favorite Italian gambler, Luigi, to make bets on, and we're going to find out if we won or lost all of our money.
That was
stupid. And when we say all of our money, we mean we are broke.
Yeah.
We literally gave him all of our money, all $100, and so hopefully he turned that into, $110 or something.
Yeah, I can use $3.
That's how gambling works. You're like, I won 50. I spent 1,000, but you got 50.
I always like to reiterate this whenever we bring it up on the podcast. The reason we're doing a Patreon is because we've paid for 3 years to do this podcast, and I hate doing the podcast, and we've been paying out of our own pocket to do it. So we said, why not do a Patreon to pay for that? And we're barely breaking even on that. So just so people don't think that we're like eating Kraft macaroni and cheese, we're still eating the store brand macaroni and cheese.
That's true.
With our Patreon.
Yeah,
although we got a ton of people to sign up, which blew us away.
Awesome. Yeah. And they're reading the blogs that I write, and I put way too much work into them.
It is
for as many people as see
fun. I'll say with the Patreon, knowing we have more than 3 fans.
Yeah.
It's fun knowing we have 15 fans.
I agree. And you know what? Before we actually get to the trivia game, we have our weekly Steve campaign plug here. Speaking of Patreon, and
Steve Campaign, our number one Patreoner.
Yeah, our
Joe B of Patreon members.
Exactly. He today would like to remind everyone to wash their hands and wear masks and not go to the airport like Kyle, so we can all maybe have fans at a playoff game.
I wore my mask and I socially distanced, except for when I kissed all those people.
Yeah.
But other than the kissing, I was good.
Well, I guess that's fair. I think, I think Steve Campaign is 3 for 3 here. Putting Kyle in his place.
He is also right.
Indeed. All right, let's go to the trivia game. On the line here, I'm a week behind. Really, this should have been last week. But the jersey, Jake Kumura.
Kumaro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jake
Kumaro got released.
Kumaro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said, right?
Sad to
Kumaro?
see you go, Kumaro.
Ah.
It was funny to watch after he got released. Again, I'm always on the Twitter looking for good stuff for the pod. How many people were like, why the fuck would they do this? The guy just caught a touchdown. I'm like, you didn't even know this guy fucking existed. Shut the fuck up. Up until who cares?
I was one of those people.
He's now with the Saints. Pretty crazy that he went from Rodgers to Allen to Brees.
The Saints picked him up. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You could have made that a trivia question. I would not have gotten that right.
Yeah, and also interesting enough, he's a cousin to Joey and Nick Bosa.
Ah,
That family. What do they just sit around lifting weights and eating whey? Like that fucking family. How many people play in the NFL? What are the mathematical odds of you even making into the league? Like 0.001?
And not only
brothers and cousins.
Not only that, they, unlike the Watt family and the Gronkowski family, one of like Rob Gronkowski good, the other two brothers stink. What's it called? The Bosa's phenomenal. I guess Watt is good too. TJ Watt. And
he led the league in
JJ Watt.
in sex. He leads the league in sex. Right?
The Bosa's are like great. What a fun family. I wish my dad had better DNA.
Yeah.
I came out of the womb ready to drive a tractor trailer, not to sack a quarterback.
Well, there's some kids when the kid is in the nurse's arm, they're like, this kid's gonna grow up to be in the NFL, and they're like, he's gonna have a podcast. I think he's gonna.
And at the time in 1987, a nurse was like, "This guy is gonna have a podcast," and they were like, "What the fuck is that?" And they go, "It's this lame shit white people do."
The nurse was like, "I don't know what it is, but it's definitely going to be the whitest thing anyone could possibly do."
All right, 3 questions today. We'll start with Greg on this one, because I like to see Greg get up big and then blow it. He is the Atlanta Falcons of this podcast. Question number 1, Greg. What number is higher, Jake Kumaro career yards or my current weekly unemployment check?
Okay. Weekly.
Yeah.
I don't know that Kumaro played anywhere else before Buffalo, but I'm assuming from this question that he did. So your unemployment check, you're doing the stand-up comedy. I don't know what that tabulates to. I'm going to go with Kumaro.
Go with Kumaro. Kyle.
Well, I have the unfair advantage of knowing what I make on unemployment. And I don't think so. I assume Sean's around me.
He does the movie extra thing too that I didn't factor in. Like this fucker.
There's no movies right now.
But he was in like 87 movies, and they tabulated that for the unemployment
87 movies.
Oh yeah, he's in like all of the Batmans. He was in Inception. This dude is in the background of every movie you've seen in the 2000s.
All right.
He's like the Meryl Streep of extras.
I'm going to also go Kumaro.
You are both right. Kumaro, 344 career yards, and my current unemployment check is 182.
So that's really pathetic. Like I didn't want to be right.
Are you talking about Kumaro or the unemployment?
But the whole thing is just regrettable. It's really bringing me down is what it's doing.
Please sign up for our Patreon.
No, I feel bad for Kumaro and Sean. This was Sean's way of getting Patreon. Like, the size of my tapeworm or the yards Moss gained in the 4th quarter from eating ramen noodles.
If I paid the minimum amount on my credit card bill,
everything's going to be about how poor Sean is.
It would take me how long compared to Josh Allen's yards? 4,000 years. That is correct.
That's brilliant.
Question 2. We'll start with Kyle here. What number is higher, Kyle? Stefan Diggs' cap hit this year, or the amount of videos uploaded to Pornhub in 2019?
Oh, Pornhub. Pornhub. It's gotta be.
Oh, his confidence scares me. So
I watched all of them.
What a weekend that was.
I love the idea too of Kyle counting them like he has a big thing. Another one in the books.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. I'm their screener, actually. I have to make sure there's nothing too outrageous in these.
Okay, so videos all time, it's Pornhub. But like in 1 year, can 20 million videos be uploaded? Like, is there that? How many people are there in the United States? Like 380 million. And the percentage of them that did a video is like 1%. So you're like 3 million. And did everyone do 6 videos? I don't know. I don't know if the checked out there. My brain isn't working, so I'm just going to go against Kyle and say it's the Stefan Diggs cap number.
Well, Greg, you are correct.
Yeah.
Stefan Diggs cap hit this year 14.8 million, and amount of videos uploaded to Pornhub last year 6.83 million.
That's almost no videos.
Well, I'm going to go back and check my Excel spreadsheet. And I'll let you know if your numbers are correct.
All right, we will start with Greg since he's in the league. Greg, in the
How many of those videos did Kyle thumbs down?
I don't thumbs down any artistic endeavors.
No, you like to encourage art.
Mm-hmm.
Greg in the driver's seat again. Can he keep it up, though, is always the question.
Probably not.
We're starting with you, Greg, for our last question. There's a tiebreaker if necessary. And you know what question is coming. Which one of these players did not play in tonight's game?
Fuck.
Is it A, Jacob Johnson? Is it B, Jonathan Jones? Is it C, Gunnar Olszewski? Or is it D, Sam Witwicky?
I'm starting to catch on, and it's always C or D. Those first two, and by I'm starting to catch on, I have no idea. But Gunnar
when in doubt,
sounds,
Charlie out, right?
Gunnar sounds like a football name, but that's also like a position. So I'm going to say Gunnar is not real.
Gunnar Olszewski.
I'm playing the player. Yeah.
Okay. Kyle, to you.
What's the last guy's name?
Last name is Sam Witwicky.
I'm gonna go that guy because that last name sounds familiar.
Well, Kyle,
so not football,
ties it up.
Hey,
Jacob Johnson was the fullback. Jonathan.
They don't
Jones.
give the Navy guns. You don't get a gun. You get a fucking mop, and they send you to the deck to swab it.
Jonathan Jones was a defensive back. Gunnar Olszewski was a wide receiver, and Sam Witwicky, of course. Say it with me, Kyle. Shia LaBeouf's character in Transformers.
Exactly.
Those movies were so bad.
Well, we have a tiebreaker now. We'll start with Kyle on the tiebreaker. How much has the 7 Transformers made at the worldwide box office? So that's 5 in the franchise, 1 spinoff, and the animated one from the 80s. Those are your 7 Transformers movies worldwide box office. How much is it at?
Does this count Air Transformers, the Air Bud spinoff, where the dogs transform into?
It does not.
Okay.
No dog movies in this.
I mean, I gotta do math here. I'm gonna do.
We should stop the podcast.
I'm gonna do $610 million.
610 million.
Yeah.
Greg.
5 movies and the 1 spinoff, and what else was it?
The animated movie from the 1980s.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, they take 30 million to make. Their budget is 30 million.
Yeah. I'm gonna say $814 million.
Okay, well, you were right to go higher, and you win. Congratulations. I will say that neither of you are even at within the ballpark. The 7 Transformers movies combined have made $4.8 billion.
That's stupid.
We shouldn't win. We should both be losing.
Yes, right? I don't accept the jersey. That's so bad. That's like winning the NFC East. Like, you just don't even agree to go to the playoffs. That's terrible.
Well, congratulations, Greg. I'm sending you the Jake Kumaro jersey. Wear it with pride. You're on a 2-game winning streak.
I'm going to find the first homeless person I see and give them that jersey because I don't deserve it.
Well, you know what? That's nice of you, and it's in the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the Jets, can I just say one last thing about the game? Chase Winovich, huge Bitchovich. How's that? I just made that up. Wow, Chase Bitchovich. Wait, Winovich. There you go.
Who is Chase
He was the white guy in the defensive. He's their outside linebacker with the long hair. He's bitching the whole game. He was just yipping and yapping. He's the perfect Bill Belichick player, just bitching all the time, yipping and yapping. How about you make a fucking play? Win a bitch. That sounds too cool though. It shouldn't be win a bitch.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
More
Get
like
a
lose,
bitch.
more like lose a bitch.
Kyle, in attempting to make fun of someone, gave him a cooler name.
Yeah, I know. Chase Winovich? God, that's good. Anyways, he stinks. He sucks. Shut up. I wanted him on the Bills. Anyways, Jets game. No, who we play? Miami.
You're kind of all over the place there, Kyle.
That's how little this next game matters. I'll give you a key to the game. You'd start Jake Fromm. That should be. I will say this. What scares me, not scares me, but first off, Josh Allen will be active. They're going to give him the start. So he started all 16 games. And I agree they should. He is, if I'm doing the math correctly, he's like 40 yards away from like the Bills' single season passing record. And I think they know that. And I think they want to get him that. That's my personal opinion. I think they want to get him the single season record. And then pull him.
I mean, he has, if Mahomes doesn't play, he has a chance to, they probably determine the MVP by now. Like, I don't even know how that works.
When I looked at the updated numbers, I mean, like everyone else, I just looked on Twitter. It seems to be Aaron Rodgers is pulling away. Mahomes has a lot more yards. Josh Allen would need to start the whole game, I believe. And, but he has more touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers has more touchdowns than both of them. He has like 5 more touchdowns.
Okay. But does that count? That doesn't include the running touchdowns. Allen
no, it does. Total touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think they know. I think McDermott knows he's 40 or 50 yards away from Jim Kelly's or Drew Bledsoe's single season record, and I think they try to get him that record.
Yeah, I think he plays a couple series.
And maybe they should.
They played Kelly for a series or two back in the 90s.
Yeah, so they did that last year when they clinched the playoffs. They threw him in for 2 series in the last game before taking him out. But I think, like I said, if I was the coach, it's dumb, and I know it sounds dumb, but I think that's important to players, and I think I would try to get them the 50 yards passing.
Well, before we give our predictions on the game, we have our new series, the Behind kind of Enemy Lines, where we got friend of the podcast, Jeremy Pinsley, is a Dolphins fan.
Ooh.
And he gave us his prediction for the game.
I love insight.
Yeah, so we'll hear that. We'll hear that now.
Oh, it's magic. Never believe it's not so. I know you saw that Fitzmagic the other night, baby. It was crazy. I am still so rock hard from that game. Oh, my God. I loved every second. I mean, a deep ball to Mac Hollins, the #1 deep threat in the NFL. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, my God. I can't believe we won. I thought it was classic Dolphins. We come back. I mean, don't you guys love when a game ends on like a crazy play? Like something unexpected, like you're playing the Tennessee Titans. Frank Wycheck hooks it back to Kevin Dyson. Oh, my God, it's a touchdown. Don't you just love that when it happens like that? Oh, man, that's fun for me. And like when you're playing the Houston Texans and the game's over, but then you lose, but then you get another chance, and then you blow it, then you get another chance. And, man, you guys have really sucked a lot lately. And I got to be honest, I know you're better this year. And I respect you now. I respect you as an organization. And I'm just happy the Patriots can suck our balls. I'm glad the Jets have won 2 games. And that has been considered a miracle. So that's fun. And here we are at the top with a chance to play, to see who's truly the king, even though you win the division. This game means a lot. And we're getting Fitzmagic into the playoffs. Dolphins 34, fuck faces 31. Fins up, bitches.
Why do we let these guys on? They come on. I think they're going to be nice to us, and then they're not nice to us.
But I don't care anymore. They let him talk all the shit he wants. And I loved Ryan Fitzpatrick winning that game. I cannot wish bad on him. He is my dad.
Yeah.
I will love him.
And I love it. It's so great to see this season. So many things happening that make Kyle sad. You know, Fitzpatrick coming in, winning games. Lee Smith, hear a lot of talk about him being the MVP. Yes,
they're starting to call him MVP Smith. That's what they're doing.
So like all this stuff is it's great. And yeah, that Fitzpatrick game was
Fitzpatrick,
awesome.
I watched that game. Fitzpatrick it's what I've said. That is the perfect Fitzpatrick moment for a team to be like, that's our guy. And then he's gonna suck.
Yeah. That's why I want him in the playoffs, though. If the Miami Dolphins are in, there's less of a chance of Baltimore being in, and Miami keeps Baltimore out head-to-head. So there's other ways Baltimore can get in, but whatever the chances of Baltimore getting in, I want it to be less.
No, I think right now Baltimore is in.
That's what I'm saying. But like Miami is ahead of Baltimore head-to-head. So if they finish with the same record, other things going to happen. So shut the fuck up. Let me talk for once. You ramble
Kyle,
for 2 hours on your bullshits.
Yeah.
I like Miami in the playoffs more than I like the Ravens or Indy or any of these other teams. So I'd rather Miami have a ticket than any other team that can have a ticket.
Yeah. Yes. We'll find out all next week. All next week's pod is just going to be talking about playoff matchups. And hopefully
we can do it now.
Hopefully barely about the game. A lot of shit can change. Well,
let's just do the pod. Let's start. Okay, I'll do an opening. Hold on.
Indy's not even in the playoffs right now. That's what's crazy.
Greg's gonna do an opening.
Yeah.
All the
Kyle, shut the fuck up. Greg's gonna do an opening.
My dad died. Who cares? The Bills are in the playoffs.
Did you just do me doing you?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. It was like Dana Carvey doing George Bush. It doesn't sound anything like George Bush, but it sounds a lot like Dana Carvey doing George Bush. I don't know. We'll do it.
No, there are a lot of fun stuff next week. All the wild card teams are 10-5, and Indy is the in the hunt team at 10-5, and it's all going to be pretty fucking wild. And I'm glad we're not in that shit show.
Agree. Also, I know you guys don't care about this, but I've said it before. I hope the Browns get in because I feel kinship with them.
No, fuck them. And their
I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I said you guys wouldn't care. I'm just saying I would.
As someone who was Baker Mayfield's #1 fan.
Yeah.
His cockiness is a little bit much for me now.
Wow.
He seems to be a little bit too cocky, and it's just like, you're good 1 year, man. You don't get to be cocky. Like, I want to, not to sound like a super old dad and just be like, you just play the game and you shut up. I love personality, but
every time I watch a game with Kyle, he's like, give the ball to the ref. Act like you've been there before. This game has really gone down the tubes. I'm like, here we go again.
That is the oldest, whitest, guyest statement ever.
The Steelers are bad because that Smith Schuster guy is on Tic Tac.
Tic Tac. Oh, Tic Tac. Less commercials.
But next week, I think Josh Allen. I think he gets his 50 yards and they pull him. Matt Barkley comes in and goes 11 for 33 in 1 touchdown.
Oh, that's a good guess. That might be
it. Is right.
That's fucking balls.
I think Miami is a good team, is a legitimate team. I'm excited to watch Tua against our backups, and hopefully this week he throws. Last week I believe he went 17 of 22 for 94 yards, the standard Alex Smith game. So I think he has a nice comeback game, and he goes 32 of 35 for 129 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they beat the Bills 21-7.
I'm gonna go against that and say the Bills are gonna Willie Parker game the Dolphins. They're gonna sit their starters. Allen comes in and throws 40 yards or whatever, but then it's 3/4 of the backups, and they still beat the Dolphins and hold them out of the playoffs. It's gonna be 17-13.
I think the Dolphins win 21-14. I just think it's one of those things where, we've known this feeling of like losing to the Steelers backups when you needed to win to get in.
Yeah, the Willie Parker game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's crushing, but I think the Dolphins can do it, should do it.
I also it's one of those why I would disagree with Greg that it's the Willie Parker game is Mike Mularkey is a bad coach, and I think Brian Flores is a good coach.
Okay, so that's fair. Yes, Mike Mularkey. I'm not going to ever take Mike Mularkey's side in a football argument. So yeah. All right, that's it. That's the podcast.
That's it.
It's
Like,
1 o'clock in the morning.
I agree.
Can we always
fucking
record?
moon's not even up anymore.
Can we always record at midnight? I feel like we're like Real Sex on HBO. Like we're up late. We're doing bad things.
What are you watching? Dream On?
I'm about to. I got Taxi Cab Confession.
Just gonna bring out Taxi.
We're watching a Shannon Tweed movie next.
I gotta delete it from my dad's TiVo or whatever it was called in 2000.
He's recording it on a VHS tape that's labeled like Fern Gully. Don't record over that. That's my favorite Disney movie.
A reminder to rate us on iTunes, follow us on Twitter and YouTube.
No one cares. No one loves you.
If you care about the Patreon,
stop looking for love on this medium. You'll never.
We got some good episodes coming up. We just have to think of them.
You're gonna die alone. No one gives a shit about your podcast or your face or your soul.
Well, I didn't say any of that.
You're acting needy.
I'm just saying these things at the end because I know they upset you.
They do so much.
And before we hear the Bills win song, we have a brand new Greg Buck.
Yes. So this is from a Patreon subscriber that requested their own personalized Greg Buck, which you can too. And Sean, I'm going to ask you the name of the person who did this, and I can't remember their name because I'm a piece of shit.
I believe.
Yeah, can you find it?
How do you get the personalized Greg Buck?
You just do a Patreon. You got to do it of like, what is it? How much is it a month? I don't even know. I'm not. Sean's in charge of all of this stuff. So you can get a personalized Greg Buck call. And this person did it. There's more than one person, but no one's gave me their specifics yet. So
David Sumner.
Okay, so the premise behind this was Greg Buck during COVID can't cover games, so he had to move to esports just for work. And that's what this is. So this is hypothetical. This is real play-by-play of Greg Buck calling esports.
And that's it, everyone. Sweeto.
Yeah. One love.
Well, I wish I would have heard it.
It's trust me, it's good. It's better than any of the bullshit.
No, that's cocky. Trust me, it's good.
Yeah. Oh, you don't gotta hear it to know.
I thought you were gonna go standard Greg and be like, it's not great.
Yeah,
you're like,
right.
Oh, it's fucking good.
Ever have prime rib, asshole? That's what this is. It's for your ears. Imagine your ears folding down and chewing prime rib. That's what this is, and it's cooked perfectly with risotto. Sorry, goodbye.
Well, COVID has hit us all, and of course the sports world has certainly been affected by quarantining. So, to fill the time until I'm allowed back into stadiums and arenas, it's been arranged that I'm calling esports, right from the comfort of my own living room. Well, this should be fun. People across the world on the World Wide Web are playing electronic sports, some socially distanced, good, clean entertainment. Okay, we've got a computer football game between the Chicago Bears and the Buffalo Bills. The person controlling the Bears franchise has elected to receive the kickoff, so the Bills will kick off. The kicker's name is D's Nuts. D's Nuts. Is that a real player? I've never heard of D's Nuts. Oh, okay. In this computerized football, the E-players can create their own identities. So D's Nuts goes deep in the end zone with the kickoff, and it'll be a touchback for Chicago. Okay, and I'm told there's a chat function on Twitch, and I need to engage with the audience. Well, that'll sound fun. Really get a chance to mingle. Here we go. GamerBoy4928 says, "Hi, you're a piece of shit." Now, that's uncalled for. Who is Gamerboy? How does he know this? Can we find out who his parents are? because he shouldn't be saying things like that. Now, Mr. Sticky Buns just typed a racial slur. That is unacceptable. Mr. Sticky Buns, really. Now he's typing the letter U, the letter R, and gay. You are gay. Well, that's personal and has no bearing on my ability to call esports. Can't see how it's relevant. And now GamerBoss4928 is back and has some choice words about my mother. That is enough, young man. Why does this chat exist? It's juvenile. Go back to the football game. 1st and 10 for the Bears at their 25-yard line. Quarterback breaks the huddle, and the quarterback's name is Greg Buck is a virgin. That's not even clever. Not a virgin. None of your business. I'm not reading your nonsense anymore. What is up, dog? This is terrible. I'm done. How do people do this? Whatever happened to Pong? Post game coming up.
The Bills won.